Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at another birthday present of mine, and that is the Jurassic World Dino Trackers Strike Attack Edaphosaurus. So this is a brand new species in the Mattel line, and I'm super excited for it because Edaphosaurus is a very unique looking reptile, and it fits with Dimetrodon very well, so I'm super excited to have one from Mattel in the Jurassic Park line. So this one's obviously Dino Trackers, so it's part of the water or the shore environment, which is a first in my collection for the Dino Trackers, and it's very interesting. I don't usually associate Edaphosaurus to be a water animal, but you know, it is what it is. Then you can see the main front packaging of the Dino Trackers. It's the same thing we've been kind of seeing for a while now. And then here on the back, it shows you more FACSAP information, how the action feature works, and other dinosaurs in this wave. Which I have the Herrerasaurus. I still have yet to get the Geniodectes and the Zuniceratops. So that's basically it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this figure. Alright, so here we have the Edaphosaurus out of the box. This is a very nice looking figure. You know, it's just like that of Dimetrodon. You know, it just looks really cool. You know, it's nice to have another sailback reptile or even a non-dinosaur at that. But yeah, I mean, out of the box, you can definitely get a good look at this thing from all angles. And this looks pretty good. This actually makes for a good, I guess, Jurassic Park style Edaphosaurus. And I think it, yeah, looks pretty good right there. I think the detail is where this thing shines the most, in my opinion. The detail on the sculpt, it just look amazing on this thing. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. Here is the head. You can definitely see all the nice, beautiful sculpt work and scale detail that Mattel put in the head. The entire head's made up like this small, you know, scale looking texture. And then you got like these larger bumps here towards the upper part of the mouth right here, and then some right here on the side of the face, and then on the brow ridges up here, and you got some large ones on the side of the mouth or the lower jaw right here, which feel really nice as well when you rub your finger against it. But yeah, very nice detail. Same with the head. You get some, you know, normal typical scale work going on there. And here at the front, you know, very menacing looking, I will say. You know, this sculpt is very, very good. But in terms of accuracy, I wouldn't have noticed this would be an Edaphosaurus at first. I mean, the sail kind of gives it away, the way it's kind of shaped. But if I didn't see the sail in the correct position, I wouldn't have thought this was an Edaphosaurus. I would have thought this was like another retool of a Dimetrodon or something, which I know they are similar to each other, but just looking at that face, that looks more like an evil Dimetrodon looking face, less like a herbivorous, you know, peaceful looking Edaphosaurus, you know. But other than that, you know, it's really nice looking sculpt work either way. You know, get the teeth are nicely sculpted. They're making it look more like a carnivore than an herbivore, because Edaphosaurus was in real life an herbivore. So they definitely made it more carnivorous looking based on the way the teeth look. And they did the same thing with the Therizinosaurus, and in the movie it had tiny little plant-eaten teeth, and in the toy they're like massive, make it look like a carnivore. That's kind of like what they're doing with this Edaphosaurus here. But you know, it's interesting, but I think Mattel definitely labeled this guy as an herbivore on their FACSAP, so at least they know it's an herbivore and not just a carnivore. So that's good. The tongue is nicely sculpted with some nice lines going on there. Same with the roof of the mouth. The teeth are nicely sculpted, like I said before. And we'll get to the underside in a second, because the underside is probably one of my favorite parts of the sculpt of this figure. You can see the little ear hole area over there, or I believe that's an ear hole. That might be just the outline of the skull. Moving on to the neck, you know, it got some nice scale work that pretty much goes through the entire body, and it feels really nice too, very realistic. But it looks really good. Mattel's really good with their detail, and I'm just impressed with it. And you got some larger bumps sprinkled across the back here that just kind of show up at random spots. You got some nice little neck wrinkles there. nice creases and folds and some muscle definition poking through the skin there. And here on the arms, you get some nice, more subtle looking scale work and some nice ridges on the hands right there, which look really nice. Same with the leg, more of that scale work and some larger bumps showing up here and there. And then you can't see the ridges on the feet that much because the way the feet are positioned. Here on the tail, you get some nice little ridges going on here, which are actually part of the sail, I'm going to say. They kind of show up a little bit on this part of the tail and a little bit on the underside too, which is very unique. I like when Mattel adds those little differences or those slight little details to make them unique, and Mattel's really good at doing that. You know, the same thing goes with the other side. You know, nice amount of detail. And here's a scan code, which I'm really surprised they didn't incorporate the scan code into the sail like they did at the Dimetrodon. So it's very interesting that they didn't do that. They're kind of pulling a Siamosaurus or Ampelosaurus here, just having it on the side of the body here. But here's the scan code. Speaking of the sail, here it is right here. And one thing I want to point out that I never expected is that this sail is made of a softer, rubbery plastic, so it has a lot of give to it. It can be bendy, and it actually really reminds me of the old Kenner Dimetrodon, you know, with a very nice and rubbery, bendy sail. So that's really good. I kind of prefer this bendy material for a sail over a plastic one, like the past Dimetrodons that we've been getting from Mattel. But it feels really cool too, very realistic in some areas. And you got the famous spine sticking up there, nice looking texture on the sail itself. Obviously, they captured the famous characteristic of Edaphosaurus' sail, and that's having it more rounder instead of more kind of pointed like Dimetrodon's. And it kind of rounds more at the back, where the spines here actually bend more towards the back. So yeah, they got that correct with Edaphosaurus. And one thing I want to point out with the sail here is that these little ridges here from the spine don't match up to these little curved spine edges of the sail all that well. I'm not sure if that's just the way Mattel made it, or that was a mistake, but I don't think it was a mistake. I think this is just a choice that Mattel made intentionally, you know, for this figure. You can definitely see these ridges don't necessarily touch the little sharp edges there, which is very interesting. So this is like, these edges are just part of the skin membrane of the sail itself. It doesn't have anything to do with these little ridges. And looking back here as well, these ridges do not match up with the rest of these spines right here. So that's very interesting, and I actually quite like that. It makes it look different and unique. You can definitely tell these little spines are actually coming from the floppy skin sail itself rather than the actual spine. So very interesting there. And yeah, and this makes this animal look very unique. Now, the best part in terms of the sculpt is the underside. Look at this scale work on the underside, very crocodilian-like. I love it. I love the way these scales look. It looks so cool. I love the way these look. And this pretty much continues basically from the lower jaw here down to the neck, basically the entire underside of the animal to like roughly the tip of the tail, most likely like right here. But it looks really cool. I actually didn't notice that at first when I got this, and I took it out of the box, and then I was looking at it and I noticed this. I was like, wow, this is very impressive detail right here. So yeah, this is probably one of my favorite parts of this figure. And you got a little bit of like some spines right here from like the sail. So very interesting. They put a little bit on the chest right here. And you got a little bit of some hanging skin here on this part of the neck. So very cool figure. Well done and sculpted very nicely. Definitely has a lot of artistic Mattel license in here. And I love how Mattel just does what they want with their figures. Like they get like the main overall look of the animal, but add in like their own special details to it, such as hidden sail structures on the tip of the tails on both the top and bottom, and just the cool looking scale designs or added feathers. I think it looks really cool, so I'm very happy with this figure. Obviously, this is part of the water environment for the Dino Trackers line, so they gave it like this water or shore environment. Though, like I said, I don't usually associate Edaphosaurus with water, so I don't know what was going on with Mattel when they thought that. Now, if it's like on the shoreline or maybe like a swampy looking environment, this makes sense. But no, you're not going to see an Edaphosaurus swim in the water. You know, sometimes I feel like with Mattel, if an animal has a sail, it automatically goes in the water. So I'm not sure if that's what they were planning on doing, but either way, the colors match perfectly, make this Edaphosaurus stand out. But overall, I like the nice blue, like a grayish blue color for the majority of the body, and a nice dark bluish black for the head, and it kind of transitions from the back and then to the body, and then the whole front legs are black. And that same black color continues to the sail with a very nice looking yellow design that makes the sail stand out. And you got like a little bit of a lighter blue color only for the lower jaw and this part of the neck. So, and it doesn't really need to be continuing on the bottom because this color blue plus this one are kind of similar. You got a nice looking orange eye with a slit, so making it very reptilian like. Which I'm not sure if that'd be very accurate in real life, but you know, it looks really cool for being a Jurassic Park Edaphosaurus. The teeth are nicely painted as well, same with the inside of the mouth, except for the roof, but overall, very nicely done in terms of paint and detail. Now for articulation, we've got rotation joint in the arms, which can go 360 if you bend the arms enough, and then you got like a little hinge that can go side to side. So that looks nice there. And you got articulation joint in the legs that can go pretty much 360. But you know, normal typical four-legged animal articulation, at least for like Dimetrodon looking animals. And the jaw is articulated as well, so that looks really nice as well. And that's basically it. Everything else is due to the action feature, which based on these sized figures, it's all just like a movement or a push of a button that makes the animal move. So it's like the normal Savage Strike gimmicks that we've been getting for a long time now. With this Edaphosaurus, it's more like a primal attack feature. You just twist the tail, you rotate it back and forth, and it just makes the head go side to side. So nice little movement there. You just make it go side to side. Maybe this is good for eating and have the mouth open, have it chew on some plants. But you know, nice little movement there. Very cool. Nothing too special, but it's a nice little little gimmick there. Now, in terms of comparisons, we will start with a very special comparison. Actually, here is the Mattel Jurassic World Edaphosaurus compared to a Collecta Edaphosaurus, which represents the animal more accurately to the fossil record. And you can definitely see these two together. There are a lot of differences. Obviously, Jurassic Park's is going to be less accurate because that's the way Jurassic Park works with all the genetic modifications and all that. And then here we got from Collecta, a more accurate looking Edaphosaurus. And you can see here, this one just looks more like a peaceful herbivorous reptile that just kind of wanders across the ground like an iguana. You can definitely see the more rounded looking sail, much different than Dimetrodon, which is what Mattel kind of got right here. And it kind of bends more or rounds more on the back, just like this one. But yeah, a lot of differences here, I would say. This one definitely looking less carnivorous than Mattel's, and obviously the tail length is much different. Edaphosaurus had more of a longer tail. But other than that, I mean, they're very similar. I mean, Edaphosaurus in real life had a longer body, which Mattel didn't really give that to this figure. This one's more proportionate to like their Dimetrodon figures, which is very different. And another thing as well is Edaphosaurus in real life had all these little ridges sticking out of the spines on their sail here. And I'm very surprised and slightly disappointed that they didn't apply that to Mattel's Edaphosaurus. I really wish they had these little spines sticking out. Would have made it just a little bit more accurate, but you know, it's Jurassic Park, I guess. That's nothing to really fret over about, but I just think it would have been cool to have these little ridges sticking out. And another thing that kind of bothers me, not too much, is I really wish the sail would have connected more to the back of the head, much like this one a little bit, just at least to the head. This one just kind of starts abruptly, literally at the start of the body here, and it's just like a full circle kind of all the way around. The back is okay, it kind of matches the real one a little bit more, but I just kind of wish maybe the sail would have continued just a little bit more on the neck right here. And then another comparison, which I was waiting to do for a while now, and here is the Mattel Dimetrodon. So here we go, two sailback reptiles from the Permian period, before the dinosaurs. And obviously, when you have an Edaphosaurus and Dimetrodon together, I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. I always think of that one scene from Walking with Monsters of the Dimetrodon hunting a herd of Edaphosaurus. I thought that was such a cool scene, and it's still a cool one to this day, so it's nice to almost kind of recreate that with Jurassic Park. And these two look very nice together. Both sailbacks, but you can definitely see they're a lot different from each other. Surprisingly, this Edaphosaurus is much bigger than this Dimetrodon. Kind of in terms of size and the height of the sail, I was actually very surprised to see how big this thing was when I got it. But yeah, they're very similar to each other, and very interesting to see a Dimetrodon be almost dwarfed by its main food source right here, I guess. So very cool there. Here is next to a human, and this is actually pretty accurate in terms of scale. Not the best, not 100% accurate, but it matches up pretty well. I'd say the Collecta figure has a better size advantage, or a better scale with the human in real life than the actual Mattel one. But you know, it's really cool. It's really cool to compare all this stuff. I like doing that. Alrighty, so that's about to wrap it up for this review. This turned out to be a little bit longer than I expected, but there's a lot to go over with these figures that have so much detail and so much to talk about. I enjoy doing it. So I really love this figure. Highly recommend it. It's another great species, and it's nice to have an Edaphosaurus in the Jurassic Park collection. So that's really cool. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys again for the next one.